here is our lineup. We've got a pretty good storyline in this one. Briar Bauman, almost our Grand National champion this year. Number 3 is going to be starting on the pole. Next to him will be an amateur rider, Brody Hansen. Some of these amateur riders have done a phenomenal job here today. So the lineup is Briar Bauman, Brody Hansen, the 13 of Jack Brooks, the 58 of Dylan Durrell, the 49 of Chad Coast, the 71 of Fanders. 3 pros, 3 amateurs on that front row. Chad Coast does elect to go to the second row, wants to start on that group. Wise decision. So that's going to bump up Walker Porter to the front row if he elects to go, and he will. On that second row now will be Walker Porter's supposed to be starting 7th. He will be starting in that front row. Braxton Reagan, Cody Fishy, Jeremiah Duffy, Bodie Page, and Tristan Colson. That is your lineup here for the Premier Pro-Am Expert Main Event. Brody Hansen looking to try to take down some of the pros.
And Bodie Page on that back row on that Turner Honda.
Yeah, watch Chad Coast here in this one. 15 laps the distance. Green light. Briar Bauman hits the whole set of heat. Chad Coast gets a yanker of a start too. Chad Coast from the back row all the way up to 3rd just like that. Not able to get by Hansen, but it's going to be Chad Coast running in 3rd.
And I tell you what, Brody Hansen has not seen anything but the front all day long, and this time he has to look at the back of Briar Bauman's jersey as Bauman leads him across the line for lap 1.
Deeper back in the field right now, one of our winners from last night, Braden Fanders on the framer running in 5th. That bike's been very strong, but Brody Hansen almost looking to take a shot at Briar Bauman there into turn 3, getting a really good drive off of 2. Brody Hansen's running very strong. Briar Bauman, a mistake there off of turn 4.
And Briar Bauman has this pressure of this flawless ride today of Brody Hansen. Brody Hansen's going to have to find a way around. Briar does not make many mistakes. That may be all he sees. So we'll see how this turn 2 or 3 and 4 shapes up as they come down one more time down the front straight.
Chad Coast rolled the dice on that start on the second row, wanting to be on the groove. How important that groove is. All the way up into 3rd now. 3rd down into that first corner off the start. Briar Bauman starting to open up a gap on Hansen. Hansen slid through the corner at 3 and 4 last time by. Gave Briar Bauman just a little bit of breathing room. So Chad Coast now on the backside of Brody Hansen. But that will be Dylan Durrell, another amateur rider on the backside of Coast. And then Fanders just behind Dylan Durrell.
Pro, amateur, pro, amateur, pro, as we see Bauman, Hansen, Coast, Durrell, and Fanders break away in the top 5.
Brody Hansen just put down the best lap of the race. First rider to go sub-18, but Walker Porter just bested that. 2 riders now down into the sub-18s. Briar Bauman's best in 19.004. So Brody Hansen has the pace, but he's going to have to be very smooth and consistent to catch up to the pack. The 2-time Grand National champion, Briar Bauman. Chad Coast trying to creep up to the backside of Hansen, but just about 2 bike lengths between 1st, 2nd, 3rd, all the way back to 5th. Everyone kind of accordions a little bit on the straightaways, tightens back up into the corners. Brody Hansen slides through there, allows Chad Coast right to the back fender. Chad Coast is there, almost looks to take the shot into turn 1, decides the better of it.
And Briar Bauman is pulling a Jet Lawrence ride just as hard as he has to stay out front. Behind him, Chad Coast has made the move into 2nd. Can Chad Coast and his veteran experience reel in the number 3 of Briar Bauman?
Halfway through this one now, Braden Fanders brakes, or he just makes a big mistake. I thought he broke there. He slowed down all of a sudden through 1 and 2, so Chad Coast now in a 2nd. Briar Bauman with breathing room back to Chad Coast. Hansen in 3rd place, still on the podium, but he's got Dylan Durrell there. Walker Porter's been the man on the mission with the fastest lap time in this one. Got all the way down to an 18.765. Track is speeding up with all the track prep they've been doing and how the moisture's coming out throughout the night here tonight. But Briar Bauman still leading the way in this one. Chad Coast comfortably in 2nd. The battle right now is for 3rd place. Brody Hansen at the moment still has that podium spot, but Dylan Durrell, local boys, gunning for it. And then Walker Porter, the fastest guy in this race, is right there in 5th.
Walker Porter is putting some serious pressure on those 2 amateurs in front of him. He doesn't want to let an amateur take that final spot on the podium. So let's see if Walker Porter can use his year of experience with AFP to advance himself up into that 3rd spot. But Brody Hansen and Dylan Durrell are on rails, and it's going to be a hard pass to make.
Brody Hansen still holding back. Dylan Durrell tries to go to the outside, ends up making a mistake, and no, goes down. Dylan Durrell gets caught up with Walker Porter. Dylan Durrell down there. I believe we're probably going to end up going red here in this one. Briar Bauman out front. Chad Coast was tracking him down. We are a red flag. Red flag. Dylan Durrell and Walker Porter came together. Dylan Durrell looked to the outside of Hansen. That opened up the door just enough for Porter. Porter tried to go up the inside, ended up coming together with Dylan Durrell.
Dylan Durrell took a pretty good tumble on the high side. It clipped him, stood him up, and he took a pretty good roll. That was a good balance. The young man is up on his feet. Dylan Durrell is tough as nails, and he's going to try to shake this one off, but it's going to take a second to do some inventory down here as they bring the riders back around to the hot box. That was a heated battle between Hansen, Durrell, and Walker Porter. Walker Porter won his shot to his last spot on the podium, and Hansen and Durrell were putting on a heck of a race there, being two amateurs running up those top guys, and they were being flawless. But Walker Porter went to take that move, and it got tight down there. And racing happens. Glad to see that Mr. Durrell, young Durrell, is up on his feet, shaking off. We'll see if he can put things back together to reline back up with these group of riders.
And then Chad Coase, really impressive. He doubled down on that second row starting spot, was able to make it happen all the way up into third off the start. Finally worked his way past Hansen.
And you got to give credit to Chad Coase. As we looked here earlier today while some riders were back in the pit area just relaxing, Chad was out here walking around the track. He was looking at the start area, looking at potential starts, and that's probably what played into him choosing that second row on the outside because he knew it gave him a better chance to hook up and get a good drive. But we saw him throughout the day looking at parts of the track. While other riders were racing or their downtime was here, he was putting in the time, taking the notes. That's the veteran experience, doing what he can to get the best finish at races like this.
I believe this is probably going to be our first single file restart of the weekend, with Briar Bauman's going to be leading it. Chad Coase second. Brody Hansen's probably going to end up third as we revert back a lap. Walker Porter will be lined up fourth. Jeremiah Duffy's going to be fifth. Braden Fanders sixth. Bodie Page seventh. Jack Brooks eighth. Braxton Reagan ninth. Tristan Colson 11th.
And it looks like the number 58, Dylan Durrell, is working his way back over the hot box. He may be going back out there. That kid's tough. He took a good shot there to the ground. That's not soft out there. They're going to make sure he's good to go. But it looks like he wants to get back in this. He was running strong. Hate to see you go down like that, but yeah, we'll see how things line back up here momentarily.
And Chad Coase was starting to try to claw his way back to the backside of Briar Bauman. Got about 4 laps left, and this one is what the...
Yeah, a lot of time he shows 4 laps, so we'll see how that plays out. But in the meantime, we're going to remind people once again as this night goes through and we get classes wrapped up, make sure you get up here to the sign-up area and return your transponders. Transponders may be returned to sign up before you leave the track. Let's get that done, so that's one less thing we have to worry about later on. We do have some racing left. Those races are still running. Not a problem, but when you're done, make sure you get them over here as well. But let's get those transponders turned in as soon as you're done racing on the track. We're going to bring Briar Bauman around. We're going to get this lineup, this single file lineup back going again. And this does give advantage to Chad Coase. Chad Coase now would be on the rear wheel of Briar. And we'll see if he can close up and maybe take a shot for this win in the Premier Expert class. And you have to think it gives Brody Hansen a chance to close it back up again where he fell off, to see if he can make something happen. This 4-lap dash, some youthful exuberance and some optimism may make his way up to the front.
Getting them all lined up, single file, just staggered enough in case someone doesn't go right in front of you. You've got some room to move around. Outside to in. Brody Hansen is going to revert back up to that third place spot. Dylan Durrell tried to get by him.
This has to be a bit of advantage for Braden Fanders too. On that framer, starting there, he can get a straight shot. He may be able to knock down, don't use the term. He may be able to get his way up past 3 or 4 riders in a hurry.
Yeah, Fander's not quite off the night that he had last night on that framer, just a little bit different. So far, track conditions kind of similar. Chad Coast wants to get this thing going. Braxton Reagan's getting lined up. Colson lined up. Mishy, and we will have Durrell restarting in the back of the field. A phenomenal job from him. Need to give credit where credit's due. He was on the gas in this one. He's going to be lined up on the group. Watch how many guys he's going to be able to pass by the time he gets to corner 1. 4 laps of distance. We are green. Briar Bauman going to get defensive. Grab that whole shot. Move down the racetrack. Not letting Chad Coast get underneath him. So it will be Briar Bauman, Chad Coast. Walker Porter, I believe, gets moved up the racetrack. He's going to fall way back in the distance. So Briar Bauman almost loses the position there to Chad Coast going into turn 3. Chad Coast moves him. Chad Coast, our new race leader. Briar Bauman back to 3rd, back to 4th now. Briar Bauman gets back to 4th.
Bauman breaks the line and he's going to drop out. He got a little loose there. Braden Sanders gave him a bump coming out of turn 4. Briar looked back and wasn't having any part of it. He's going to drop back and just resume. Put this one in the books. Chad Coast out front with Braden Sanders in 2nd, Jeremiah Hanson 2nd, Braden Sanders 3rd.
Yeah, it's going to be Chad Coast taking advantage of that restart, coming around white flag, this time by for Chad Coast. 2nd place is going to be Brody Hanson. 3rd place, Braden Sanders. Braden Sanders also getting an advantage on that restart. How about that? Jeremiah Duffy currently running back there in 4th, looking for something. Here we go, last lap, last corner. Chad Coast is going to bring around for the win. Hard fought coming from that 2nd row by choice. Chad Coast, your winner here in the Premier Expert, followed by the amateur Brody Hanson, Braden Sanders, Jeremiah Duffy. 5th place is going to be Jack Brooks, Braxton Reagan. 6th place, Braxton Reagan. 7th place, Walker Porter had an incident on that first lap, pushed him way back. Bodie Page going to end up 8th, Durrell 9th, Colson 10th, Cody Mishy 11th. And Briar Bauman, unfortunately, is going to go back to 12th.